I'm cheap, you know.
Who's the
people don't complain all that much
who's
about
the
what
expert? Who's the expert? I know nothing
So good
about
morning,
this.
good afternoon. Hi everyone.
Hi.
My name is Denny, and I'm here today with Holly Pope. I'm sure most of you don't know her, or nor do you know me. But we are in this folding structure, otherwise known as a houseboat in Sausalito. So we're going to get this done because then otherwise the owner will call the cop on us.
Or we'll float away.
So for those of you who do know Holly, she has sort of disappeared on us for a while. So you just came back from Europe, right?
So I just came back from Europe. Yeah, I spent 3 months in France and kind of exploring different areas of France and potential possibilities of, you know, life and what that looks like over there.
Okay. Yeah. And I suspect you haven't found the answer yet, right?
I don't have the answer yet. No.
The
answer is I'll be there, but the answer is when, I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tell us about your work. That's the part that most intrigues me, and I thought I understood it, but then I realized I actually don't. So tell us what do you do, and who are the people you work with?
Okay, so I'm a body worker, and I work specifically with young children, but children with cerebral palsy, developmental delays, and autism.
Okay.
So the full spectrum. So I've got very high functioning kids on the autistic spectrum, Asperger's, and extremely low functioning kids who are nonverbal and, you know, can't talk. And then I've got kids with cerebral palsy and developmental delays who are, you know, in wheelchairs, not in wheelchairs, use walkers, canes, and all different manners to get around and, you know, live a life, you know, try to be a kid.
So, but this is actually your profession. You're actually getting paid for this, right?
I'm actually getting paid for this,
and you're certified.
I am certified. I'm a certified body worker. I'm a scientist by education, training, scientist and an artist.
Okay.
But I kind of, over time, I figured out how I could blend my skills. So I've always been an athlete. I've always been into movement and what that looks like. And feeling like there's just a freedom in that. Freedom that I can get up and move. That my body can do all these amazing things. And when you're a kid, you just want to play. You just want to have fun and play. And every kid should have that opportunity. And these kids don't have that opportunity.
Now, the very first time that we talk about your work, you use the word differently able as opposed to disabled. Because when we think about the kids that you describe, we think of them as someone who's lacking on something, right? But still explain that. What does that mean?
Differently abled.
Yeah,
it means they can do it. They're just going to do it differently. It's going to manifest in a way that an able-bodied person or a neurotypical person, you know, we know what it should look like. And they know what it should look like. But their execution of a movement of something is not going to be the same. Because they can't feel their bodies, or they can't straighten their arm, or they, you know, can't put their foot flat on the floor. And so, you know, or they walk on their toes, or they stomp. They just lift their leg and they stomp. So they're able. They're completely able. They understand direction. You know, you've got to meet them where they're at, and they understand, and they're able to do it. They're going to do it in their way. That's all. So there's nothing lacking in them. In fact, sometimes I think they're smarter than we are. You know, I think they have something that we don't.
I see.
You know?
I see. I think about us, the normal people, as the fish inside the aquarium, and we're looking out. And we think that people who are outside are weird.
Right.
So, we're going to come back to that.
Okay.
I don't think we can do everything in one episode. But I thought this being an introductory episode, we should really start from the beginning. Tell us where you were born and what your childhood looks like. I mean, ultimately we have to kind of bring it back to your work. But I really wanted to understand you and you know, in a way, we're all searching, and we're all searching for
Yeah.
something. We are, you know, we all have pieces that come with this body, and
Right.
we're trying to figure out how to make it work. And
Pieces
so-
of the puzzle.
pieces of the puzzle. So go back to the beginning. Tell us about who you were as a child. Where did you grow up? Your
So-
family. And tell us, you know, kind of story along the way.
Yeah.
We got lots of time.
Lots
don't
of
worry.
stories,
Yeah,
okay.
and it's not
I
like,
think so.
and, you know, like the camera lens is off,
Yeah.
so we don't have
Okay.
we don't have to do this again, right?
Okay, good.
And it's not like we have to develop film or anything, right?
Right,
It's
right.
completely zero cost.
Right,
So-
hit delete.
yeah. If you don't like it, just trim it.
Yeah. So I'm half French, half American.
Okay.
And my mom is French, my dad's
Okay.
American.
Okay.
And I was born here in the States, but raised in France.
Okay.
So I was raised in France, and I lost my dad when I was young.
Okay.
So
Now it's safe to say that you're mixed raised.
yes,
Right.
absolutely,
I mean,
absolutely.
both of my parents from Macau, so it's hard for me to say that
You,
I'm mixed
you
race.
couldn't say that
I
you're
don't
mixed
look
race.
it.
No, you look exactly.
So mixed race meaning that when you talk
So
about your
I'm
father,
mixed race. So
yeah.
my dad is Native American. He's white and black.
Oh,
So he's all mixed up.
okay.
So my
okay.
grandfather was full-blooded Cherokee Apache.
Oh,
The
wow.
tribes, yeah.
Wow.
And then my mom's family's French, as French can be. Yeah.
Now before I interrupted you, you said your father passed away when
He
you
passed
were
when I was young.
like
And
how young?
I was 11.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you remember
Just
him
11.
at all?
I do.
What kind of
And
work did he do?
He was an artist.
Oh wow.
He was an artist.
Uh-huh,
So he did, he was a sculptor and he just a tinkerer, he could kind of
Okay.
do a lot of things well.
Okay.
He could. He was a handyman. He could just do stuff.
I see. I see.
He's one of those people that could look at something and learn it, or read a book about it, learn it, and do it.
Very intuitive.
Yeah,
kind of guy.
just completely, in touch with just how the workings of things. Yeah.
Which kind of explains why you were educated as a scientist but never pursued science, right?
Yeah, but I think what I
the
do.
intuitive side just kind of came up from nowhere, right?
Yeah. Well, part of the science too was that watching your dad die at that age.
What
I
was
wanted
he
to
dying
help
of?
people. He
What-
died of stomach cancer. So I wanted to help people from a very young age. I
Yeah.
wanted to help people. I wanted to
And this
make
is
things
back in
better.
the days when cancer was basically non-curable.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. And
And-
stomach
and-
cancer still to this day is a
Right.
very hard cancer to
I
cure.
see,
And
I
most
see.
people do not.
So my guess is
survive
that he was discovered at a very late stage.
Yeah,
So-
very late stage. Because it wasn't even 6 months.
Wow.
He died within 4.5 months.
So in your memory, do you remember a lot of pain? Not your own emotional pain, but physical pain. Do you remember any of that?
I remember his pain.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's
Absolutely,
right. Uh-huh.
absolutely. I remember because when he got really sick,
Uh-huh.
he was in the hospital. They had
Yeah.
to keep him in the hospital.
Yeah.
We kept him at home for a while,
Uh-huh.
and then we had to give him finally to the hospital. He had to stay at
Mm-hmm.
the hospital. My grandmother was a doctor in the
Okay.
country, so
Okay.
she raised us, and she could do a lot, but her specialty wasn't cancer. It was not
Right.
oncology.
Right,
So,
right. I often have conversations with young girl whose parents got divorced, and of course most adults hide that from their kids. So when they discover that the parents are not living,
Yeah.
together anymore, it came as a shock,
right.
and often they are left with this feeling of abandonment.
Yeah.
Did you feel
Yeah.
any of that?
I did, and it took me a long time to put a name to it.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't talked about. It was
Yeah.
kind of like you just get on with life. And,
Yeah.
I was pretty sheltered. I was pretty, I studied hard. I spent a lot of time, I was actually very shy. And I spent a lot of time with my brother, and I had like one
How
or
many
two close
brothers do you have?
friends. I just have one brother, but 2 cousins, and we're all around the same age, so
I
we
see.
grew up together.
Mm-hmm.
And I just never... That's what I did. I just applied myself to study, to things I wanted to learn about. So I wanted to learn about plants. I wanted to learn about medicine. I wanted to learn about how the body works.
So after your father passed away, that's when you started to live in France, or did
No,
you,
we were in France already.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, we were
I
in
see.
France already, and
I
so
see.
then I went to so we were already there.
What's it like to live in France as a person of color?
I didn't know I was different because my grandmother made it a point not to make it an issue.
Yeah.
So I think then it was different because looking back, my brother and I were the only brown kids in the area. But now I feel like I fit in much better there. I just blend in with everything there, you know, on both a cultural level and a physical level. You know, it's like people don't like, I'm not different. I'm just me.
You always struck me as someone who has a very strong survival instinct. You always, you know, I mean, talking to you now, I realize, I don't know, I mean, maybe I'm overreaching, but it seems like you grew up in these unusual places with unusual life experience, and you managed to survive through it, right?
Yeah, I did. It has not been easy. I've never had an easy life.
So do you feel like you have scars, maybe mental
Absolutely.
scars?
I've got scars, and I think some of the scars, I won't even call them, they're scars in a good way. They're like my tattoos.
I was going to say that. They're like your tribal marks.
They're my tribal tattoos,
yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
So they are what made me who I am today. And that's part of the reason I can do the work that I do.
What is it that you want to do if you have all the resources? What
the
is
resources.
It that, well, of course,
I
that
want to
never
be able to
happens,
teach people how to work with differently abled kids. So in teaching people, I want them to try to understand that they're just like everybody else. They're just differently abled. That's all. That is all. There's no difference between us and them. Maybe they don't communicate, they don't talk the way we do, but they still get it. They want to be a part of community, a part of society, and we kind of push them and their families out. You know, we talk about inclusivity and bringing them in, and you know, and I can't tell you how many schools I've gone to, and it doesn't work. They don't do it because they're not taught how. You know, if we teach them, it's like, it's all